Welcome to the History channel. Today, we delve into the captivating events of the Taiping Uprising. In the mid-19th century, a tumultuous period in China's history, an event of monumental significance unfurled. This event, known as the Taiping Uprising, was an upheaval like no other, a civil war that transformed the face of China and left an indelible mark on its history. At the helm of this uprising was a man named Hong Xiuquan. A failed civil service aspirant, he was an unlikely leader, and yet he dared to dream of a different China. After a series of mystical visions, Hong came to believe that he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ. Armed with this divine conviction and a vision of a heavenly kingdom of great peace, Hong set out to challenge the ruling Qing dynasty and establish his own realm. The Taiping Uprising was not just a rebellious act, it was a full-blown civil war that lasted for over a decade. From 1850 to 1864, the magnitude of the conflict was colossal. It spread across 17 provinces, encompassing an area home to over one-third of the Chinese population. But the uprising was not just about geographical conquest. It sought to upend the social order, championing radical ideas of shared property rights, equality among men and women, and the abolition of foot-binding and concubinage. It was an endeavor to create a utopian Christian society in the heartland of Confucian China. However, the Taiping Uprising was also one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, with estimates suggesting that it may have claimed anywhere between 20 million to 30 million lives, both from the fighting and the widespread famine and disease that followed. As we delve deeper, you'll discover the incredible story of the Taiping Uprising, a tale of faith, ambition, struggle, and devastation, and the man who dared to challenge an empire, believing himself to be the earthly brother of a heavenly being. Join us as we journey through time and unravel the chronicles of the Taiping Uprising. Our journey begins with Hong Xiuquan, a failed civil service examination candidate who had a series of visions. This was not an ordinary man, and these were not ordinary visions. He was a man on the brink, pushed to his limits by the rigorous and demanding civil service exams of the Qing dynasty. Then came the visions. In these mystical experiences, Hong saw himself in the company of a heavenly figure, who he interpreted as none other than Jesus Christ. This figure told him that he, Hong, was his younger brother and that he was destined for greatness. This was a message that would transform Hong's life and echo across the centuries. Hong Xiuquan interpreted these visions with a fervor that was both spiritual and political. He saw himself not only as the brother of Jesus Christ, but also as a divine agent sent to cleanse the world of evil. This belief formed the bedrock of a new religious political movement that Hong would spearhead against the ruling Qing dynasty. In his eyes, the Qing dynasty, with its decadence and corruption, was the embodiment of this evil. His mission was to overthrow this oppressive regime and establish a heavenly kingdom on earth, a kingdom that would bring justice, equality, and prosperity to all. Armed with his divine vision, Hong began to gather followers. He preached his message far and wide, attracting thousands who were disillusioned with the Qing dynasty's rule. His charisma and conviction were infectious, and soon he had a formidable force ready to take on the powers that be. This was the birth of a movement that would shake the very foundations of the Qing dynasty and forever alter the course of Chinese history. A movement born out of a vision of a heavenly kingdom on earth, a kingdom led by the younger brother of Jesus Christ. With a divine mission in mind, Hong Xiuquan was ready to challenge the reigning powers. His journey had only just begun, and the road ahead was fraught with danger and uncertainty. But he was undeterred, for he believed he was on a divine mission, a mission to change the world. With a rapidly growing following, Hong Xiuquan established the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom in 1851. Indeed, this was no ordinary kingdom. At its heart was a unique interpretation of Christianity, which was intriguing to the Chinese masses, many of whom were disillusioned with the corruption and decay of the Qing dynasty. Hong Xiuquan, a failed civil service examination candidate turned self-proclaimed younger brother of Jesus Christ, led the movement. He sought to replace the age-old Confucian norms and Buddhist practices with his version of Christianity. The kingdom was governed based on an eclectic mix of the Old and New Testaments with a sprinkle of Chinese folklore. This new kingdom proposed societal reforms that were radical for its time. For instance, one of the most significant changes was the idea of land redistribution. The kingdom's leaders believed that the land belonged to God and thus should be shared among all people. This was a stark contrast to the feudal system of the Qing dynasty, where a small elite controlled the majority of the land. The Taiping Heavenly Kingdom also championed gender equality, another progressive idea for the time. Women were allowed to serve in the military and were given roles in the administration, a notable departure from the deeply patriarchal structure of traditional Chinese society. But while the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom was seen by many as a beacon of hope, it was a significant threat to the Qing dynasty. The Qing rulers saw the Taiping's radical ideas as a challenge to their authority and the established social order. They were not prepared to tolerate a rival power, especially one that rejected the very foundations of their rule. In response, the Qing dynasty launched a brutal campaign to suppress the Taiping rebels. This was the beginning of a bloody civil war that would last for over a decade and claim the lives of millions. The Taiping Heavenly Kingdom was a beacon of hope for many, but it posed a significant threat to the Qing dynasty. It was a radical experiment in social reform and religious governance that, despite its ultimate failure, left an indelible mark on Chinese history. As the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom expanded, the Qing dynasty could no longer ignore it. The time had come for the spark of rebellion to ignite into a full-blown conflagration. It was the year 1851, and China was on the brink of a cataclysmic upheaval. The Taiping Rebellion, as it was known, erupted with an intensity that shook the very foundations of the Qing dynasty. From the fertile plains of Guangxi, the flames of conflict spread across the Chinese heartland, consuming city after city in its wake. It was a war unlike any other, marked by its ferocity and the sheer scale of destruction. Major battles were fought with a brutal disregard for human life. The Battle of Nanjing, for instance, was a turning point in the conflict. The Taiping forces, led by Hong Xiuquan himself, launched a massive assault on the city, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The Qing defenders, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, could do little to stem the tide of the Taiping onslaught. When the dust settled, Nanjing lay in ruins, a grim testament to the ruthlessness of the rebellion. But the Qing dynasty was not to be underestimated. They retaliated with equal ferocity, employing brutal tactics to quell the uprising. Cities that had fallen to the Taiping were mercilessly bombarded, and those suspected of sympathizing with the rebels were executed. It was a war of attrition, a dance of death, that spared neither the combatants nor the innocent bystanders. In the midst of this chaos, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom continued to grow, its influence reaching far and wide. It was a time of upheaval, a time of change, a time of hope for some and despair for others. It was a war that would shape the destiny of a nation, a war that would leave an indelible mark on the annals of history. The Taiping Uprising, now in full swing, would change the course of Chinese history. For better or for worse, China would never be the same again. The Qing dynasty, once the undisputed rulers of the Middle Kingdom, now faced a challenge that threatened to topple their centuries-old reign. The stage was set for a brutal struggle that would define the future of China. Despite initial victories, the tide of the war began to turn against the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. As the years wore on, the kingdom found itself mired in internal strife and external pressures. The first cracks appeared within the kingdom's hierarchy. Hong Xiuquan, the self-proclaimed younger brother of Jesus Christ, ruled with an iron fist, but his leadership style began to sow discord among his followers. He imposed a strict moral code that chafed against the more worldly ambitions of his generals, leading to a series of power struggles that weakened the kingdom from within. At the same time, the kingdom was facing relentless pressure from the outside. The Qing dynasty, eager to quell the rebellion, launched a series of brutal campaigns against the Taiping territories. They enlisted the help of foreign mercenaries who brought with them advanced weaponry and military tactics that the Taiping forces struggled to counter. By 1864, the situation had become untenable. The kingdom was losing ground, its people were starving, and morale was at an all-time low. In a desperate attempt to turn the tide, Hong Xiuquan declared a war of righteousness against the Qing forces. But it was too little, too late. The Qing army, bolstered by their foreign allies, swept through the Taiping territories, recapturing city after city. In June of that year, the Qing forces laid siege to Nanjing, the capital of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. After a grueling 2-month battle, the city fell. Hong Xiuquan, sick and disillusioned, died just days before the fall of his kingdom. His death marked the end of the rebellion he had led for more than a decade. The fall of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom marked the end of the Taiping Uprising, but its impact was far from over. The uprising had shaken the Qing dynasty to its core and set the stage for the dramatic transformations that would reshape China in the years to come. Even in defeat, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom had left an indelible mark on Chinese history. With the end of the uprising came a period of reflection and transformation. The Taiping Uprising, one of the deadliest conflicts in history, left a significant impact on China and the world at large. Its conclusion in 1864 signaled not just the end of a bloody rebellion, but also the start of a new era for China. One of the most profound impacts of the uprising was the weakening of the Qing dynasty. The rebellion exposed the dynasty's vulnerabilities and its inability to effectively govern and control its population. The Qing government was left in a state of political and economic instability, with its coffers drained and its military forces depleted. The Qing dynasty, which had held power for nearly 3 centuries, was now on the brink of collapse. The uprising also led to an important shift in China's approach to governance. In the aftermath of the rebellion, the self-strengthening movement emerged. This movement sought to modernize China by adopting Western technology and military strategies, while still preserving traditional Chinese values. The seeds of modernization were thus sown during this turbulent period, eventually leading to the birth of modern China. On the global stage, the Taiping Uprising had significant implications. It shifted the balance of power in East Asia and contributed to the rise of imperialism. Western powers, seeing the Qing dynasty's weakened state, seized the opportunity to increase their influence in China. This period marked the beginning of what the Chinese refer to as the Century of Humiliation. However, it's important to note that the Taiping Uprising was not just a period of destruction and despair. It was also a time of profound change and innovation. The rebellion challenged the status quo and sparked a conversation about societal reform and modernization that would shape the course of China's future. The Taiping Uprising, a tumultuous period of Chinese history, left an indelible mark on the world. The effects of this uprising still resonate today, as we continue to witness the ongoing transformation of China as a global superpower. The Taiping Uprising, a religious political rebellion, was a turning point in Chinese and world history. This monumental event, led by a man who saw himself as the younger sibling of Jesus Christ, birthed a movement that shook the very foundations of the Qing dynasty. Rising to the challenge, this movement forged the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, igniting a war that would forever alter the course of Chinese history. Yet every uprising has its climax, and the fall of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom was no exception. The aftermath of this rebellion left a lasting impact, not just in China but across the globe. Understanding the Taiping Uprising is essential, as it offers a window into the complex interplay of religion, politics, and social upheaval. History is a treasure trove of lessons, and the story of the Taiping Uprising is a gem within it. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the iHistory channel, like and share. Also, don't forget to activate the notification bell.